Hello and welcome to the ClovenCast podcast. Oh, shoot. Okay. I had this down. Okay. Hello and welcome to ClovenCast, the podcast show where we clearly have no intro. I'm Springheart, and joining me tonight are my lovely co-hosts. Can you please introduce yourself now?
This is why we practiced.
I'm a chicken nugget named Christy.
And hi, I'm a Spirit, your local Hawaiian shirt addict.
And the topic of today's talk is art school versus self-taught. Now, I would like our hosts to please take their D20 or their digital D20 and roll for dun-dun-dun initiative.
Can I roll with advantage since I'm so motivated today?
Yes.
Yes.
I got a 7. Let me type that down.
Shoot. Oh no. Would the dungeon master please tell me what happens with a natural 1?
Let me double check the player's handbook. What enemies are we fighting against today?
Hordes of angry student debt.
I didn't know student debt could be angry. The student debt decides to take an opportunity attack.
Very, very judgmental art professors against anime.
Oh no.
Yeah, you take you know what? You're gonna take 1d4 psychic damage. Your professor decided to roll for vicious mockery.
Oh no.
You take 3 psychic damage.
They hit me where it hurts. Okay. So I'm obviously going last.
Alright, make sure to write that down in the turn order.
Yes, but so the turn order is Christy, Spirit, Maple, me.
So we're starting with the art school peeps.
Oh boy. Well, I was both art school and self-taught. That was the other thing, so where does that put me?
I think, both of us started out self-taught and went to art school. Like, most art students tend to start off self-taught. Like, some of them have high school level, but yeah, maybe talk more about the art school, like, stuff that you've learned from art school and experiences and stuff.
Well, I kind of went into college not even really knowing what I wanted to do, though, is the thing. But after a while, everything kind of pointed me towards, like, going into art, because that was literally all I was good at. But it still took me years in order to get into art school, because, we have to get you through all these other classes and whatnot that you don't actually care about, like, math, science, English, all that crap.
Who uses math?
Somebody does, that's for sure. Well, I have to, but I don't have to, like, determine poll predictions or some shit like that. But when I did finally get to art school, I will say that it definitely has helped me, not as, like, what I thought, because I've met people who just get so sick and tired from drawing one, because, it's the fundamentals and whatnot. I don't need to learn the fundamentals, and those people are trash. Because you always need to go learn the fundamentals, even if you already know how to draw. It's always a good thing to go back to the fundamentals. But when I got to drawing 2, one of the things I figured out was, there's more to this than I initially realized, because I had one of the toughest, most strict, time-consuming professors for drawing 2 during one of my last quarters. And this woman basically expected us not only to do our homework, which had to be absolutely perfecto, absolutely critiquable in order to help you grow. She also expected us to draw at least one thing in our sketchbook every day. It couldn't be, like, anything personal that we wanted, but we had to, like, draw something.
Yeah.
Which kind of took up a lot of my time and actually kind of killed my motivation for a while. But she's basically trying to build up my stamina, is what I learned after the fact, I guess.
Well, yeah, and, like, I think, I'm also I'm from the scholastic side now, and it's very much, at least from our perspective, it's very much a sprinting race and getting to the end, because at least from our side, it's the how much work can you get done in X amount of time? Because the more work you do, the more opportunities you have to improve. I don't know if you've experienced that.
Sort of, not really, but actually there was this one thing that almost made me fail that drawing 2 thing. I ended up starting over my project and not realizing, oh, I needed 2 different drawings that sourced from the same drawing. So that definitely pulled out all my stamina, and I had to get like another thing done before Friday of finals week, or at least like before Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday, and it was Monday. So I had to pull out my ass the biggest and most beautiful friggin' abstract piece of art I had to do, and I got an A minus on it. And if it weren't for the fact that, you know, if it wasn't like I had to drop a letter grade because she specifically said, okay, whatever grade it is, and it better be damn good, I will drop a letter grade. It was an A minus. And like at the end, it was an A minus. So hey, I pulled out one hell of a thing. Sorry, I'll stop now.
I mean, like, at least from my perspective, like, because I kind of get where you're coming from. Like, I had professors. My professors were very varied. Like, most of them were pretty chill when it came to, because I've been, like, from my perspective, I've been drawing for about 7 years now. And even then, I took the fundamentals because I used to be a very stubborn kid. Like, I took high school art and stuff like that, too. And I was very stubborn back in the day because I thought, oh, I'm already so good. I already know how to do all this stuff. I don't need the fundamentals. But even just, like, going to art school and just having a rehash of it almost. Because, like, I already understood stuff like cast and form shadow and depth of shadow and all of that. But it was kind of a good opportunity. And honestly, a couple of my professors actually know that I do YouTube. So if by some chance they're watching, first off, hi Professor Stecca. I hope you're doing well over summer break. But yeah, they were very varied. And the thing is that at least for a little context, I go to Savannah College of Art and Design, and SCAD is like one of the big boys in the art industry. Like, they've got ties with all the big companies like DreamWorks and Disney and all of that. And the thing is that I didn't really struggle with the illustration part. The first point where I actually started to struggle was when I got into my major specific stuff, which was animation. Because I've been drawing for so long, it's become like something I can draw and talk to someone at the same time. It's why I can do streams now and stuff like that. Is when you practice it enough for it to become almost second nature. But when it came to animation especially, like, it's really weird to think about, but when you do something for so long and it doesn't become challenging, when a new challenge comes along, it almost becomes, like, harder. Because I took a really long time to get into art schools. Well, I guess 2 years isn't really, air quotes, a long time, but for a little bit of reference, I started applying for art schools in 2017, and I didn't start until the fall of 2019. Now, granted, I took a year and did community college, so as Christy mentioned, core classes when it comes to everything like math, science, English, and all that got taken care of ahead of time. But yeah, when it came to, like, and I had a lot of fun up until, like, this past quarter, and I kind of talked about it on my own channel with the latest videos, that doing online classes with art was pretty hard, at least in my experience. And I know this isn't really talking about art school itself. This is just talking about... You gotta be kidding me. I just got an OBS notification. Shut up, OBS. Anyway. We're a very professional podcast, everyone. But, yeah, I think generally the main thing that I've learned from art school is that you're never too good. Like, you're never so good that you're above the classes, because you might think, I've been drawing for this long, so I must be overqualified for this. Well, here's the thing. I've been doing art for 7 years, and I have been doing it, like, I've been doing commissions and everything like that for 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
And I still learned stuff from my foundations classes. Now, that granted, that was coming from a high school background, and I still had AP under my belt. But you can always learn more. And sometimes you don't always have all the pieces. It's kind of like a puzzle. You've got all the pieces and you get some of them from one place, but you're missing that one thing that really makes it click.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, I don't know if any of y'all have, like, stuff to add to that. I do want to mention one thing before we proceed with the turn order, is that, for those who are looking into going to art school, a few things you should know. One, like Christy said, it's very much an endurance test. It's so much an endurance test because you're working really hard to make a bunch of stuff in a very short amount of time. It's going to be hard as all hell, and honestly, foundations classes are really the test to see if you can do this full time. Because if you have trouble in the foundations classes, and I'm not saying you should give up, but if you are having trouble in the foundation classes, you are in for even more of a challenge coming up ahead. And I know everyone knows that art school is expensive, but it will, if you're really looking to have that like professional level of improvement, because even I look at self-taught artists online that are still like really good, but there's a few things to their artwork that I've learned from studying actual fundamentals, such as intuitive drawing, atmospheric perspective, everything like that. And of course, my chair broke again.
Oh no.
I almost fell backwards for the second time on a podcast.
Oh my god.
But yeah, also invest in good equipment, everyone, because otherwise you're going to fall backwards on a podcast and hurt yourself. But
Don't hurt yourself, please.
Proceeding.
So let that make it my turn to speech. Somebody who is in art school.
Yee.
Well, I can't say I'm glad I don't have crippling debt over a degree that I don't know. That sounds really salty.
No, it's fine.
Because that's one thing where it's just like, I myself am actually kind of looking into going into like more graphic design, but we'll see where I go with actually applying to a art school in that regard. But I know that's one thing I'm very thankful for, that I haven't spent so much. I'm not in like crippling debt and struggling to pay it off, because art is a very successful career, and every artist will tell you that. Starving artist totally isn't a common saying around there. But with that said, do I feel like I'm missing out on some like fundamentals, as Christy and I think Spirit also brought up, fundamentals of art? Sure. But at the same time, the internet is has a very large library of resources and tools, and I mean there's programs and subscription services like Lynda and Skillshare, right? And I guess I'm rambling and I'm losing my track of mind.
What do you think I was doing for the past 5 minutes?
I feel like I have fun with art still, and it's not like I'm not. It's not being the inspiration and drive for me isn't being sucked out, and I don't know. I think I'm capable with my abilities, and I can still grow. But do I have those proper instructors, and do I have like those like professionals teaching me? No. But if say it's a lot of looking on the internet, and looking at how other people draw and just kind of picking up skills that way, and just kind of teaching yourself. And one side of the coin, it's like, yeah, that's good. That helps you build some sort of fundamental and kind of helps you learn. But on the other end, it could also help you learn bad habits or whatever, right? But I don't know. Most of this, I feel, is just me rambling because I don't know what the frick I'm doing half the time.
Well, you're still making a very good point, and I know I keep interjecting, But I think, yeah, you mentioned something very good, is that self-taught artists tend to develop a lot of bad habits, but I think a majority of that comes from isolation or stubbornness. So if you're willing to go out there and seek out the fundamentals, the resources are available to you. I think the main difference would at least be, like, in art school you have an instructor to keep you in line and provide you feedback.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you have that resource to say, hey, teacher, am I doing this right?
Or even just ask for help.
Well, but you're picking up what I'm putting down, where you have, not to say that every professional artist is perfect, but when you have an instructor there that has kind of the, they have the syllabus and whatever, it's like, and they know what they're doing on a piece of paper, and if they can look at your work and you have that feedback, as opposed to say me, who doesn't have that, and say if I went to another artist, right, and be like, hey, did I do this right? There's still that chance. It's like, well, I mean, I'll pick up on their habits, as opposed to like what's kind of the textbook definition of right in the art world, which is kind of hard to achieve, but I mean, it's there, So that's my piece, which was mostly just rambling. But you know what? If somebody could glean anything from that, good for you.
Oh, beautiful. All right, I guess that would leave the critical fail on the floor's turn. So I also went to a school of art. Huzzah! But plot twist, I did not go for the fine arts. No, dear listener, I went for technical theater and live events. I went for the behind the scenes stuff. But if you hear the tone of my voice, before that I wanted to be an actor. So first year of school, just history, was me trying to figure out my shit in college. But just Mabel, you had mentioned people who seek out help and to better themselves, and that just washed over me like it brought a story upon me. So I'm gonna sip this tea real quick. That's a tea. So I'm gonna call this girl Brenda. Brenda was an older woman. Okay, she's probably no offense to Brenda, because I don't remember her age because I'm bad with memory. She was probably about 40s, in her 40s, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone in the course is like, just coming out of high school, or like early 20s, not 30. She's probably like in her 30s, like late 30s. But anyways, I don't want to offend. But Brenda, okay, Brenda basically was, if you picture like the super artsy crafts person, basically like Martha Stewart, okay? Mm-hmm. She's just like hardcore, like she'd like take a pine cone and she'd like make it into like a disco ball and like a centerpiece. And it's like, what did you do? It's like, I spent all night just making this beautiful thing for the table. And it's like, okay, that's the thing. You didn't need to do that. It's like, I did it for the house. And it's like, okay. She's just that type of person. But Brenda clearly paid for tuition, clearly came to the school to like, obviously like went to seek out help, okay? But was set in her ways. Mm-hmm. Okay, don't be a Brenda. Like, if you come in with experience to a program, like, that's cool, that's awesome, that's amazing, okay? But you're going to a place of learning to learn, and nothing is more frustrating than you going to do, like, just watching someone like not like just reverse back into their ways when it's not the way you're supposed to do things, and those things could potentially be like dangerous or not safe or like not how you're supposed to do things.
Essentially stubbornness. Don't be stubborn.
Don't be a stubborn Brenda. Also, she was a really bad roommate, but that's other tea.
You had a room with her?
Oh my gosh. Yes. If we do an episode about roommates, I will gladly do the tea.
I want to type that up real quick. I want to add that to the list.
Please add that to the list.
I don't have a college roommate, but I did have a roommate for 9 days, and let's just say I absolutely hated my life.
Yeah, but I don't want to get off topic. But yes, I had to room with this person, and I have lots of stories. Absolute nightmare. But that just be open if you're going to pay for, because the teachers are there to teach you. So that was just a quick side note. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I'm a little different than everyone else because, I basically, in technical theater, I majored in props, and wardrobe would have been scenic paint if I hadn't hurt my back. I absolutely love scenic paint. It's so much fun to do. You get like long, like brush, like you tape the brushes onto like rulers and you paint standing up. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
it's glorious. I painted with a skirt. It was the greatest thing ever. My scenic paint teacher was basically like, you can come in a prom dress for all I care as long as you get the work done. It was glorious. But the scenic paint teacher I had, we had a business class. And this is going to be, this practice is like, this is going to be controversial. Okay. And I'm going to, so, and keep in mind, this is technical theater. Okay. And here, okay. So, it's something that's like bugged me for a while. So, in this business class, there's how do I word this? Gosh, sorry, just a sec.
You gotta find the word for it.
Okay. So in school, we were told that, and in this business class for a technical theater production, you were allowed to take existing art and use it for a technical theater production, but you had to alter it enough so that it wasn't, so it differentiated from the original work. And an example we were given was like if you were going to put on like a Dr. Seuss show, right? You didn't want the like trademark like characters to look exactly like the ones from the book because you could get sued.
Right? Sued by Dr. Seuss.
That's just
I get it.
That's like a generic, like if you were going to put like on a children's theatrical thing of like the Lorax or something, you didn't want like the characters or like the back sets to look exactly like that was just the example they used. But so I had in my brain this mindset from college that you could take an existing, and you'll see the problem here as I keep talking, you probably already guessed it, taking an existing piece of art and altering it just enough so that it's your own piece of work. But and then going to the internet, right? And the art community, that's not fucking cool. Hello?
We're listening. Continue.
Yeah,
I
so
can
that's
hear
not.
you guys now.
So that's not fucking cool in the art community, okay? That's called fucking tracing. Like and not tracing, but like in theater, but like that's not what they were teaching us. But like because they taught us that in my brain, like yeah, in the art community, like taking art and like altering it to like be slightly different is not fucking cool. So being an artist coming out of technical theater and coming into just being my own, like, hi, I'm making art and I'm doing stuff. Part of my brain is like, you could slightly alter this and like it be your own thing. I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here. That's not cool. That's not what that class was trying to teach you. So yeah, that's a weird thing that I learned from school. That's not cool. Um, that has like literally haunted me to this day. And it's like just
I think it's kind of like the instance where you're trying to like you're trying to work with a source material, but
yes.
you have to spin it in a way that's going to allow you to work with it in a sense.
Yes, and that's what they were trying to teach us. But I've actually seen people from my class take art from people like just artists like who aren't like a big like like company or something, like how like the gray area of like fan art or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that they take like this person made like a pattern and they've like just altered it a little bit
and then they repost it.
Yeah, and it's like that's not cool. Like
you're just stealing the work that someone else did.
Yeah, so that that's something that like so like I'm very happy that like I'm surrounded by sweet beans that are like good role models to be like, this is not cool. Luckily I've been like not just mood. It's just a big fucking mood. Because like technical theater is that weird gray area of like we need like we need Pepsi cans on stage, but alter them a little bit so that they're not, the logo's not showing but it's identifiable enough, and just so that's my tea.
I think so we're kind of getting to the end of our run time, but a big question that a lot of people are probably going to ask, since we kind of been sharing our own experiences with art school and what our thoughts are versus being self-taught, but a lot of people are probably going to be asking, should I even consider going to art school or should I just remain self-taught? And I think, do we want to just go in our turn order and kind of give our thoughts before we wrap up?
Sure. Yeah. My opinion, if you are absolutely serious about becoming an artist and you want to make it your career, then absolutely go for it. Other than that, maybe look into another profession, unless you're 100% serious. That's my hot take.
I've given myself the title of the Gordon Ramsay of the art community as of late because I've become kind of a woman of hard truths. So here's the thing that you need to take into consideration when it comes to an art career, or multiple things. First things first, you aren't going to make a lot of money. Art school is very expensive. It's usually more expensive than most colleges because it's usually run by private institutions. That, and you're not going to be making a lot of money, especially if your intention is to go into illustration or another topic where, like, another field where it's primarily niche. Now, that's not to say that you can't give it a shot. There are a lot of successful artists, like, I'm an animation major, for example, but also visual effects artists, film majors, audio designers. There are lucrative fields, but the main thing that I want everyone to keep in mind when it comes to art school is, one, you have to have an extreme passion for what you're doing. You have to do it even when you're working on it for hours and hours in a week. So take, for example, like on average in high school, I was spending about 2 hours a day on art. In art school, I would be spending, if I remember correctly, I have usually 2 classes per day. Each class was 2.5 hours long, so that's 5 hours of time on art a day, and that's not counting the 5 to 6 hours I spent on assignments after the fact. So here's the thing: you are going to burn out if you go to art school. Be prepared for that, and really, if art is more just a hobby or it's something that you don't want to feel a lot of pressure on, because your professors will pressure you. Working professional has a lot of pressure in it, and clients can get very nosy, they can get very pushy, and sometimes you'll deal with assholes. But the thing is that if you think it is worth it, I say go for it. Just make sure to research and know what you're getting into.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Maple, that's not very substantial.
No, not really. I mean, it's just like you said everything. Like you got to make sure that it's definitely it's an investment of time and money, and you got to make sure that it's something that you see yourself doing. And that's not to say it's an end all be all decision. Like it's the end of the world if you make poor, like if you go in and decide you're not going to do it anymore. People do that all the time with any sort of set post-secondary schooling. It's just figuring it out before you go into it. Like myself, I'm currently doing that with possibly going to graphic design, and I'm kind of pondering the pros and cons, and if it's something, and if it's a career choice that I really feel ready to go into. So really it's just kind of taking the time. Don't feel like you need to make an instant decision, but just know if you're seeking to make it more of a career, art school is going to, like, it will work in your favor.
So I will say, like Maple said, just take your time. So for me personally, I took an extra year of high school, and I did that prep year of college. But it was definitely worth it. I learned so many life skills going to college, like living on my own, like time management. I definitely think going to college it's a life-changing experience, that you like learn, you discover a lot in college. But also you have to take into consideration like cost. Like I think you need to, if you're going to go to college, you need to figure out what exactly you want to do. And for me, like technical theater, I was doing like 12-hour days, and that didn't include homework. Like 9 o'clock in the morning, we were in class, and then at 6 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, sorry, we'd have a 1 hour dinner, and then we'd be in the shop, working on shows, that we'd be putting on for the musical theater kids. So like, if you're going into technical theater, you need to be like, that is what you're getting into, is like those long days. And those long days also apply to like animation and just art in general. Like I've just drawing art,
also very frequent.
yeah.
Yep.
And making YouTube videos, like you are going to be doing long hours. And if that is not, if you want a 9 to 5, that this is not for you.
Yeah.
Like you need to be you're going to be putting in the extra hours. But I definitely think I learned a lot going to college.
I think I actually wanted to share something that my professor told me a little bit about. I know I already said my piece, but I just remembered it. So,
Okay.
The big thing about working industry, especially if you're going into something like animation, is that you are going to have, it's kind of like college semesters, especially if you're working on big projects, is that you're going to start off, it's going to start off slow, and you're going to think, yeah, I'm feeling good about this, and then when you get to about the halfway point, it starts getting to you, and then by the end, it's the just get it done period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, especially, I think, I know Christy and I are very much perfectionists when it comes to our art, but
Yeah,
you gotta,
that basically sounds about right.
you just remember, you're there to improve. If you decide to go into this, it's a lot of hard work. Doesn't always have the biggest reward. So the biggest reward you can get from it is the experience. And as Spring said, a lot of stuff that you will learn will change you. It'll change you for the better. Sometimes it'll change you for the worse. But at the same time, a lot of work. But if you feel that it is worth it and this is the direction you want to go for, like, most people don't stick with a career forever, but at least 15, 20 years, then I say go for it. That's very much paraphrasing, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I guess that's about the end of the show. So, Spring, would you like to do the outro?
And that's all for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to join the Cloven crew. And be sure to follow us on Twitter. We made a new cool Twitter. We post stuff there. It's fun and
the doobie-doo.
yeah. And lastly, if you would like to support us, be sure to share this video around so that your friends and neighbors know where we're at. And be sure to join us every week on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as long as we keep this time slot. And that's all for now. This is the ClovenCast signing off. Do it.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.